I'm Gloria Matthias of IBS Intelligence, and you are listening to IBS Views podcast. Today, I'm in conversation with Yashraj Vakil, CEO of CaptainBiz, which is a fintech SaaS platform dedicated to addressing the unique needs of nano, micro, small, and medium enterprises in India. Welcome to the podcast, Yashraj. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing, Gloria?
I'm great. Thank you so much. So, start off the discussion. Can you explain what nano enterprises are to our listeners and how they differ from MSMEs?
So nano are basically, what you would usually they would seem as, which is nano,
Right.
or in Gujarati as we say nano, which means really small,
Right.
and that's what they are. And it's the challenge with these prices is it simply their size, or is it the massive impact that they're creating with the minimal resources that they employ on the
Right.
economy? And these nano enterprises, challenge is that they often go unnoticed, but they are the heartbeat of India's local economies. So if
Right.
you go to these small villages, if you go to the small town, if you go to the district headquarters, you will see that these nano enterprises are really running those towns, those places. So while they are small, they have self-employed individuals, they are local traders, they are service providers, but they do a turnover of less than a crore. And the challenge with the MSME Act, it does not define these nano enterprises, but it kind of bundles these enterprises under the micro enterprise segment, which is businesses which do turnover of less than 5 crore. And these nano enterprises are those which are doing a turnover of, say, 50 lakhs, 1 crore, which is almost one fifth or one tenth of what the Act defines it as. And that's where the big disconnect lies. So the question is then, why are we talking about nano enterprises now? Because I think we failed to recognize their importance as part of the regulation. We have missed out on supporting these millions of entrepreneurs who are striving for sustainability. And these enterprises or nano enterprises are not equipped with the same kind of resources or recognition that micro enterprises get. They don't benefit from any government schemes. They are almost invisible, but they are still the backbone of the economy. And hence, if what we believe that if they are recognized, they will be able to get more resources, they will be able to get more support from the government, and people will basically be able to understand their contribution to the economy. So that's what nano enterprises are and how they kind of differ themselves from MSMEs or micro enterprises.
As you mentioned, I guess their size is small, but their impact is large. And
Correct.
I'd like to understand, how is Captain Biz helping nano enterprises in India?
So, I'll pose a question to you. What do you think is more challenging for these small businesses or nano businesses? Is it finding customers, or is it about managing complexity of daily operations? For nano enterprises, the larger issue is managing their paperwork, inventory, billing,
Right.
GST filing, managing tax notices. They don't want to do all this. And this is where Captain Biz comes in. Because what CaptainBiz does, it gives the power of digital billing and stock management to these small businesses. And it's not just stock, even they can even manage their service provider, they can even manage their service on CaptainBiz digitally, which provides them the flexibility to no longer worry about what do they have in their in their godown, what do they have, how much inventory do they have, have they raised invoices, have they filed their returns, what is the amount they need to file, how much business they have done. They don't have to worry about these things because
Right.
Captain Biz takes care of all of this. There are no errors. So when you kind of manage, as opposed to managing your business on pen and paper and a register, you no longer need to do that. The process is not manual, which means that errors are less. So, it becomes a lot easier for these people to manage their businesses and, more importantly, survive. Because a large number of these businesses actually shut down every year. And that's what Captain Bizri does for them. It helps them survive. It helps them concentrate on things they do best, which is finding new customers. And it reduces their headache with billing, compliance, GST, and organizing and formalizing their business.
So basically, Captain Biz helps them with facilitating or like streamlining their workflow efficiency.
Yes, so if you really put it, if you have to really label this, Captain Biz is really enabling digital transformation
Hmm.
in grassroots India.
Right. I'd like to understand, how are nano enterprises, you know, acting, or how I'd like to say is, how are they reacting towards digital transformation? Are they quick to embrace digital technology, or are they still not so equipped enough?
Look, so you need to ask yourself, what's the biggest fear that these MSMEs have? Is the fear that they have, is it that the fact that they have to get into digital? Or is it the fact that they don't understand digital? So, I think it's for the last few years, there has been an interesting campaign that the government has been running of Digital India. And somewhere we are feeling that, and we all, kind of get a sense of the market. Everybody wants to go digital. Everybody somewhere wants to say that, I want to digitize, I want to organize, I want to formalize. The challenge is the lack of digital literacy, and the fact that these nano enterprises, people who run these enterprises, are not necessarily extremely educated. So for them, if you expect them that, they will basically go to Google, search for something, understand what their challenges are, go to the Play Store, download an app, start doing things, it does not work. It simply does not work.
Right.
Even if it's free, it does not work. So we break these barriers by providing these nano enterprises as well as micro, small, and medium enterprises with the right kind of training and digital tools that they need to get started. And once they have started, to continue on their journey of digital transformation in affordable prices. And
Right.
when I say affordability, that means at the price of the cup of or the price of cup of tea, a daily cup of tea is the price at which they can manage their business using CaptainBiz. And when you make it sound like that to these nano enterprises, they realize that it's as simple as that. And that's the price.
So, as you mentioned about GST management, I guess India has a large informal economy with many nano enterprises not fully integrated in the formal tax system. So, why do you think is it important that nano enterprises, or they get into the system, and how are you trying to improve their regulation and compliance?
So, for these, forget about nano business, but even the micro businesses,
Right.
this GST taxation complexity is a mountain too high to climb. It's higher than Everest. Let me just put it this way.
Absolutely.
And it is often overlooked. And what these guys do is they rely on people who they know, who they have spoken to, who they trust to help them with these matters. What they don't understand is that GST compliance is the key to opening doors towards credits, formal contracts, and new customers. And imagine trying to run a business without any financial history, without GST compliance.
Right.
And that's the reality of nano enterprises. So with CaptainBiz, we are able to kind of transform them. And what that does for them is help them get credit from lenders
Right.
at better interest rates than what they might be used to. Because these nano enterprises end up getting finance from lenders at like 35%, and sometimes even 45% interest, annual interest. And that's just crazy.
Yeah.
And when we actually speak to them and make them realize that, if they start managing their business in a formal digital way, there is a trail of the business that they're doing, and hence they can attract better interest rates. And that then results into participation from government lenders, which are obviously the most beneficial for
Right.
for the both nano and micro. That's the best part about becoming GST compliant, and realizing that with the right digital tools, they don't necessarily need any additional support, but they can start unlocking their full potential just by going digital.
So since you mentioned about how they could embrace digital compliance and how it's going to help them in the future, how do you see the future of nano enterprises evolving, especially with the rise of digital tools and platforms?
I think there is a huge opportunity, a huge real opportunity for these nano enterprises to go beyond their traditional boundaries that they've been used to for so many years. So, imagine this, where there's a smallest of small business in a remote village
Right.
that has access to digital tools like CaptainBiz, just like the large enterprises in the metro cities. And that's the future that we're talking about. And what that growth does, it helps these nano businesses scale. So they go from, the smallest of small businesses to a micro business sort of a category. For micro, they go to, a larger business category. So, it's really all about ensuring that these nano enterprises are not left behind. And that is why we are insisting that, these nano enterprises should be classified as a different category within MSMEs.
Right.
And not bundled with micro, because they need more tools, they need more support, they need more resources to thrive and, more importantly, to survive. So
Right.
with digital platforms, comes, like I said, it gives you access to credit and better regulatory support, transformation, and all of these things basically help you grow. And if we can bring this transformation to grassroots India, then the future of these nano enterprises is not really limited by their size,
Absolutely.
but it's entirely limited by the amount of access that they are being given. And more importantly, they come onto a level playing field with the other enterprise segments. And that really is the future, and that really is the biggest contributor, and it is going to be the biggest contributor to the country's growth.
That was going to be my next question. So, what kind of growth and transformation can we expect in the coming years in the face of this digital transformation in MSMEs?
The way business is done in this country, or for that matter anywhere in the world, not going to change even 10 years from now, which means businesses will always be required to create invoices. They will always be required to collect payments. They will always be required to file their GST returns or their taxation returns. On the other hand, even in the next 10 years, the government is not going to change in the way they operate. They are going to collect tax or GST. They are going to ask these businesses to comply. And this is where, this is what the future is going to be. So it's extremely important that all of these businesses, the government kind of comes together so that businesses can get formalized, it can get organized, and there's an opportunity for the entire country to grow.
We've heard all about the offerings Captain Biz has and about the entire segment in general that Captain Biz caters to. What do you think the future holds for?
So like I said, see, at the end of the day, these nano enterprises need support, they need hand-holding. And CaptainBiz is providing exactly that. So it was very easy for CaptainBiz to say that, hey, we are going to throw the product out there and we're going to get these people to, discover the product themselves, download, access.
Yeah,
It does not work. It does not work in
absolutely.
this segment. The thing that all of these nano enterprises want from you is support.
Mhm.
It is, and they don't want from you or CaptainBiz. They want it from they want it from the government as well. And that's what we are doing. And we are seeing that there is an increasing amount of trust that these nano, micro, small, medium businesses are developing towards CaptainBiz. And they have started believing that if my business needs to succeed, I need the hand of CaptainBiz, whose hand I will hold and move forward in life and grow. And that's our biggest achievement.
Yashraj, thank you so much for all your time and for all the insights that you gave us throughout this podcast. Yashraj Vakil, CEO of Captain Biz.